our garden, and he planted 2 trees here. Those who know, you can have darshan outside. It service very trees, and also there is a water bottle tree or something. That's name I don't remember right now. There are 2 trees. Maharaj also blessed them again, and all the gardens. He took pictures of everyone, of all the plants and the fruits. So with that imagination, you can see how much Maharaj is so much invested his life in the culture of cow, agriculture, and making a system very simple living, high thinking. So Maharaj is going to many places, and now he go to Chicago, and then he's going back to India. So this is the last leg of his preaching tour for coming for this ISB. And this time he came here, he was very pleased that there are a lot of farming, cow protections going on here, especially Sri Krishna Purushottam Prabhu for establishing the Gir cows and many other things at his Sri Suravikshetra Dham. So Maharaj is very happy this time to see all of the manifestations of his wishes and his concept. So we'd like to again thank you very much, Maharaj, for coming us, giving enlightenment to us. Please give our ISB style Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksurimilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyacha Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everyone may kindly repeat the following 2 short mantras. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Om Sarabhyai Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pagum langayate girim Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. So I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for coming to our program this evening, and especially thanking our Bali Mardan Prabhu for inviting us for this last home program actually. tomorrow will be the last program of the Goshala, but this is, you could say, last home program. We are continuing with basically the same theme that we have been discussing and presenting in the last few months, actually, in different temples, different especially communities in various countries. That theme being make Vrindavan villages. And one of the reasons why it's so important to have the entire set of Srimad Bhagavatam in one's home is that in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find there's one particular chapter dealing with the daily activities of Krishna. How many have set of Bhagavatam at home? Very good. We have excellent rating this evening. Srila Prabhupada's vision and desire was that actually in every home there should be a set of Bhagavatam, not only on the shelf, but actually taken off the shelf and read regularly. So I've been making this point a little bit, how the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered, there are 12 cantos in the Bhagavatam, the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam is of special importance and significance for us, those who are devotees of the Lord, those who actually want to understand not only about Krishna's pastimes. Okay, here we go. Not only about those who wish to understand about Krishna's eternal pastimes, what we call Nitya Lila in the spiritual world, but also those who wish to understand what is meant to be the more ideal way of living, so that we can simplify our lives in such a way that we find maximum time, that we can give maximum attention actually for the primary purpose of life, which is, of course, to become self-realized, to develop our love for Krishna, to reestablish our presently lost relationship with Krishna. So in other words, when Krishna descends, as he did 5,000 years ago in the small village of Vrindavan, he actually showed, as a matter of fact, that's in one of the purports that I've been referring to more so lately. At the end of this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions how Krishna and Balaram showed by personal example. Krishna played his flute, and his playing of the flute is especially. Why does Krishna play the flute? Yes, that is because cows by nature are extremely sensitive, very, very sensitive, and very much therefore attracted to sound vibration, which is very pleasing. And of all the musical instruments, the flute, the sound emanating from the flute, is the most attractive, and of course, of all the flute players, Krishna is the most expert. It is nicely described how when Krishna plays the flute, that sound vibration, it is transcendental sound vibration of playing the flute, is such that everything in Vrindavan comes to a halt, isn't it? All the cows, especially when we look at gir cows, which is what we have here at the Sri Surabhi Gokshetra Goshalam, the gir cows have very beautiful ears, isn't it? Very long ears. And when the sound of Krishna's flute is heard, those ears just come up to fully capture that sound vibration. So all the cows in Vrindavan, when Krishna plays his flute, they become motionless. They're totally absorbed in that sound vibration. Not only the cows, actually all the residents of Vrindavan, they just kind of stop doing what they're doing. And that sound vibration is so powerful, it describes how even the Jamuna stops flowing. Rather unusual. But Krishna's activities are unusual. So Krishna demonstrates by personal example how to care for the cows. Of course, not only by playing his flute, but by personally, every day, as we know, going out with the cowherd boys. And he does this day in and day out for hours and hours, isn't it? And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada also explains how Balaram also shows by his personal example by carrying a plow, because he's in charge of agriculture. In that purport, Prabhupada specifically mentions, somebody was asking me the other day, why does Balaram have a plow? Because he's in charge of agriculture. Isn't it? So, by reading these pastimes of the residents of Vrindavan, especially the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram, we get some insight, especially in terms of what is meant to be the norm for both. There are two important sciences that are necessary for any society, any community to be properly functioning, organized. Of these four sciences, especially these two are demonstrated. The science of the science of economics and the science of education. I mean, education is something very important in everyone's life, and economics as well. Maybe brahmacharis don't think about economics too much, but those who are householders, they definitely think about economics, isn't it? How to make things happen, so to speak. So, in other words, we get all the information needed, especially through the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it may not immediately be obvious to us. We cannot immediately understand so easily. I mean, we say the words like the science of education, the science of economics, but because in our modern day way of living, modern day lifestyle has taken us so far away from that more natural and original way that initially it takes some time to understand. I'll just elaborate on this point a little bit because it's extremely important. We know that in the context, let's speak a little bit about education. Wherever we, in whatever country it may be, modern day education, as it is arranged today, is basically training individuals to fit in the modern day model that has been actually created, which is not actually the Vedic model of what the purpose of life is. In other words, education, real education is to ultimately help us individually and collectively to realize the absolute truth, to realize who we are, to realize what is the purpose of life. So, in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, in these pastimes, especially of Krishna and Balaram, we begin to have some understanding as to what education is meant to be. That particular chapter I was mentioning, which is describing the daily activities of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada explains in a purport that when Krishna and Balaram are just still small boys, maybe 6 or 7 years of age, along with their friends, every day they go out, they're given the responsibility of the small calves. And Srila Prabhupada explains that actually for the majority of residents in Vrindavan who are of that age, the majority of young boys in Vrindavan of that age, this is actually meant to be Vedic education. And Srila Prabhupada further explains how what we know or what we refer to as academic education today is actually not meant for these boys who are in the village and who are connected with a Vaishya family. Academic education is reserved for only those who are more Brahminical. And that means that actually very few such individuals in society are meant for that or are capable of taking up such education. So this means that actually the majority of individuals, the majority of young boys in particular, are meant for a different type of education than what, when we think of Vedic education, most of us, when we think of Vedic education, what do we think about? Gurukul, isn't it? We think of Gurukul. But we tend to forget that Gurukul is only for a very, very small percentage. Because in Gurukul, which is for the Brahmanas, one is meant to very deeply study, and for many years also, study the science of transcendence, the science of Brahman, and to come, if one is fortunate, to the topmost level of Brahman realization, which is Bhagavan realization. Brahmeti Paramatmiti Bhagavan Niti Sabjate. And it takes many years, 12 years, 15 years to master. We still find people, there might be some in the Bay Area here also, people who have the title of Trivedi or Chaturvedi. mean, people have the title today, but they don't have yeah, Trivedi, one who has actually studied the three Vedas, isn't it? Very rare. So it means that actually majority of people, when we agree to live this more simplified lifestyle, which is actually meant to be in village, are meant to take up more simplified activities. Now one may say, well, this is, this is somewhat backwards. We have advanced nowadays. But we should know that this is not backwards, in that it's only when one lives this more natural lifestyle and takes up such type of activities which are in accordance with one's nature, that more easily one can develop the necessary qualities to actually rise to that higher platform of self-realization. In other words, in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, when one of the foremost personalities, Srila Narada Muni, begins his explanation on the request of Yudhishthira Maharaj on the subject matter of dharma, he mentions a very important point, that individuals within society to be actually considered as civilized must develop 30 qualities. To be actually considered as a human being, one needs to develop these 30 qualities. And these 30 qualities, of course, they begin with satyam, truthfulness, daya, compassion, tapa, discipline or austerity, and saucham, cleanliness. And then other qualities are mentioned, including also the 9 devotional activities, beginning with Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. This is considered actually advanced human being. In other words, the whole Vedic culture is first and foremost striving to give individuals an opportunity to become advanced human beings, ultimately to become self-realized human beings. All other things are actually secondary. So there is a particular way of living. There are prescribed activities which will more easily facilitate such development of character, such development of a higher consciousness. And today, unfortunately, because we have, to a large extent, gone astray or deviated from what is meant to be the norm, we find ourselves in a situation where the character of individuals is very much in question, and where people are largely, their consciousness is on the lower level, and because they're not engaged in their proper in the proper pursuit of life, therefore so many people in modern day society who are disconnected with these concepts and this lifestyle are very alienated, are very confused, are very much in anxiety. So, in other words, all of us who are fortunate to come in contact with this knowledge that we call Krishna consciousness or Vedic culture, it is important for us to understand these standard sciences. We're talking about the science of education. And to create a situation that will enable us to again reintroduce this type of culture. In other words, the Krishna consciousness movement is endeavoring to reintroduce these concepts and these principles. One of our devotees in India has translated a book, the Gopalas. We are in dire need of Gopalas today, actually. So this devotee, his name is Bharat Chandra Prabhu. Some of you may know him. He has translated a book called Krishna Krida. What were the original games and pastimes of Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan 5,000 years ago? Because, you know, in a place like India where tradition is very strong, very deep, practices over the centuries continue, especially in villages. Traditionally, in villages, things don't change so much, or not meant to change. Modern day society, especially in cities, things are changing all the time. And because, especially in the 20th century, we've seen, and we continue to see in the 21st century, constantly changes, so much quickly happening that it's very difficult to keep up with the changes. And most of those changes, of course, are unhealthy for us because they're all in terms of our bodily situation. So one important feature of Vedic culture is that no change. You know, when just like the devotees of Krishna, they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is an unchanging mantra. It doesn't need to be changed, isn't it? We study, we read every day, hear about either Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. It's not that now we are in the 21st century, where's the new book? Which is modern day education, isn't it? Books are constantly changing. Parents complain that they have to buy new books every year. In the traditional Gurukula, traditional system of education, you have the same books because you have perfect knowledge. That is major difference. When you have perfect knowledge, there's no need to change that knowledge, isn't it? When you have the perfect mantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there's no need to change that mantra. And when you have the perfect lifestyle, which we have forgotten, unfortunately, in modern day society. When we have the perfect lifestyle which is favoring proper development of education, proper system of education, when we have the perfect lifestyle which is favoring the ideal system of economics, the ideal science of economics, then there's no need to change. But today, because we have forgotten this, we have gone so far away from this that our whole global situation has become extremely complicated, very complicated. One of the features of Vedic culture and Vedic lifestyle is that it is based on simplicity. Simplicity. And there are so many things that unless one learns to be simple, one will not be able to understand. You know, the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan, whether they are in terms of education, in terms of economics, or in terms of rasa, which is a whole other dimension. Rasa has to do with reawakening our original relationships, our spiritual relationship. There are two levels of rasa. There's spiritual rasa and material rasa. Rasa Prabhupada translates as taste, mellow. We cannot live without rasa. Just like some people, unless you put a chili in the food, they cannot eat it. That chili rasa has to be, taste. Everyone, we by nature, it is everyone's nature. We cannot live without doing something that we like to do. And when we are forgetful of, or when we have never learnt about spiritual rasa, then we are caught up and we are forced to actually experience material rasa, because we cannot live without rasa, without taste. So Vedic culture is such that the lifestyle which is advocated, which in many ways is also mysterious because it cannot so easily, immediately be understood, favors, facilitates the awakening of this superior rasa. The exchanges that takes place, just to continue a little bit on the theme of Vedic education, as experienced by Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys in Vrindavan, that exchange that Krishna and Balaram and all the other cowherd boys, that exchange that they have amongst themselves and with the cows and with Mother Nature, helps to actually awaken the higher levels of consciousness, the higher, the spiritual rasa. If we ask a materialistic person, what is the goal of life? What he will answer? Earn money for what purpose? To enjoy. The purpose of life. Everyone wants to enjoy. Why people want to enjoy? Because it's our nature. Yeah? That very question was asked to Srila Prabhupada by one reporter one time. What is the goal of life? Prabhupada said, to enjoy. But not to enjoy like you. Not to enjoy like ordinary materialistic people. Because by nature we are, we are, by nature we are seeking enjoyment. Prabhupada actually explains how enjoyment, which comes from unadulterated love, actually, is the birthright of all living entities. It is their birthright by nature. If one is born in a particular country, then he has rights to so many different privileges that are given in that country. So we are created by Krishna. So Krishna, he is, as you mentioned, Krishna, he is Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Radhira Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. He is Sachit Ananda, eternally full of knowledge, full of bliss, and Vigraha, having form. He's a person. So just like all of us in the material world, we seek to establish good relationship with others. We seek friendship. Everyone is endeavoring to make friends. Everyone needs friends. If we don't have friends, we're not happy. We cannot be happy. We need good friends, isn't it? By nature. So the real friendship, the real love we find on the spiritual platform. Bhuktaram Jagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheswaram Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatvamam Shantim Rishati. Shanti, this is how we can become actually happy and peaceful. So coming back to the point of education, it's a very fascinating subject matter. And we will only begin to properly understand the type of education that Krishna and Balaram experienced and lived in Vrindavan if we find ourselves creating that same environment or situation. And that is one of the, you see, Krishna consciousness doesn't mean only sitting down and holding a bead bag and chanting Hare Krishna. Of course, that is not to be minimized in any way, but it's very rare to find somebody who can just only do that. But Krishna consciousness has to do with how to properly connect and utilize and live in harmony with this whole material creation in which we find ourselves, the whole material nature and the natural resources given by the Lord. So in other words, there is a prescribed, more simple and more natural way in which we should be educating ourselves and our children, which we have forgotten. That's why there's so much of commotion and so much of changes and irregularities and complexities in modern day education. We are those who are educators have not studied what Vedic culture teaches in terms of what are meant to be the standards of education. We have forgotten also in modern day society. We're getting more and more Gopalas making their appearance here. We have forgotten these standard sciences, which to a large extent can only be experienced and understood when we have the experience of village life. Now, sometimes people speak about village life in a kind of a sentimental way. But we should know that, as described in the Shastra, village life is meant to be the norm in society. Looking after cows is meant to be the norm, not just one lone person looking after himself, practically 25 gear cows. Traditionally, I was telling the other day how when I was the first village I visited when I entered Ukraine recently, just about a month ago, 2 months ago, I guess. Time goes quickly. 2 months ago, I was winding up my tour in Europe, and the last place I was visiting actually was Ukraine. I started France and then UK, Switzerland, like that. Ended up in Czech Republic, and then crossed over to Ukraine. And in the first village, it was close to the border because we had to wait a long time, and it was nighttime. So one devotee, fortunately, was close to the border and had just moved in the village. Ukraine, for those who may not know, is one of a number of countries where traditionally people, number one, live in villages, are closely connected therefore with nature, with the land, and also cows. They come from that culture, you see. And in many ways, because of that, they can more easily identify with Vedic culture. So anyways, we came late at night, and then the next morning, we were just there for a short time, but I was speaking with the devotee who had just recently moved there. His purpose for moving in that village, because it's like on the west side, completely on the west side of Ukraine, where it's safe to live there. And he had been there maybe 1 week or so, and he was talking with the local people, mostly somewhat elderly people, because like in India also and all over the world, more and more young people have left the villages, isn't it, to go and get some work in the cities. So when talking with the local people, when they were hearing from him what he was planning to do, which was to actually get some cows, do some natural agriculture, they became very enlivened, because they said, my God, this is what we were doing. This is how we were living just not so long ago. And each one of our families here in the village, all of us, we had so many cows, 3 cows, 5 cows, 10 cows. In other words, it's not, we speak about India and the villages of India, but we should know that actually in so many countries, I'm giving one small example here of Ukraine, which is quite far from India. I mean, the same thing in Canada. I'm from Canada, and not that many years ago, people were also living off the land. So the point being that Shastra, our Vedic literatures, beginning with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, not only do they give us knowledge and information about spiritual subject matters, but they also give us directions how we should be living our daily lives. What is the ideal way to meet our economic necessities of life? What is the ideal system of education? What also is the ideal system of governance or politics? Because we cannot, if we have a society or community, some people need to manage, to organize. So the idea is that this knowledge is contained in our Vedic literatures, and it is especially the responsibility of those who are more Brahminical, who are meant to deeply study these subject matters and to actually share that or teach that to people in general. Of course, we we as a society, let's say our International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we have a number of branches or temples all over the world, but compared to what is going on in the world, we are small number. We don't have the type of power, at least externally. The actual power that we need is Krishna's power, of course, which we have access to that power and to that knowledge and to that wisdom. So our Krishna consciousness movement, one of the important aspects, and in the last few months, by visiting so many villages, so many communities, I was happy to see how devotees in different places and different countries, and this evening would like to share with you actually some of these you could say short or brief feedback from some of these communities. For example, one of them is in Indonesia. I mentioned before. It is actually a village of devotees. In other words, it is very much possible and desirable, and we should be striving for that as well, to create such communities where everyone is a devotee and where we are living based on what is recommended in the Shastra. And when one goes to such a village, to such a community, and interacts with the residents of that community who are all devotees, it just makes such a huge difference, you know. Yeah. It's like a little bit going to a place like Mayapur or Vrindavan, where these are places of devotees. Therefore, one of our objectives, we should know that our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada spoke about and wanted us to understand and to the extent that we actually understand it, to take steps in that direction to reintroduce, reestablish, help reestablish such type of communities. Then we will be helping to fulfill the desires of such personalities. The perfection of a disciple or one who is following or wants to follow the directives of the Vedic culture is to actually help fulfill the expressed desires of either Krishna directly or his representatives, our Vaishnav acharyas. So there's a tremendous need in modern day society for more of us to know and to understand about this aspect of what is explained in our Shastra as material swadharma. We have these two levels of responsibility. We need to develop our spiritual practices in terms of what are the eternal activities of the spirit soul. Simultaneously, we also need to understand how important it is to live a lifestyle that is as close as possible to what is described in the Shastra, in particular by what is presented by the residents of Vrindavan, by the activities of Krishna and Balaram. This, to a large extent, is the message that we are trying to convey, and for that purpose, we've mentioned a number of times, we are endeavoring to establish some training centers where some individuals can come and learn in a very practical and methodical way how this can be done. So maybe we can just share a little bit. Whether we yeah, okay. We can take a few minutes while they set this up for any possible question that, oh, careful. No accidents.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, okay.
So Maharaj, sorry, so this may be, can I talk about yesterday's lecture? The question about like yesterday's topic. Okay.
Go ahead.
So we see that Lord Chaitanya in scripture, right? That in the age of Kali it will get so degraded that Lord Kalki will come. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that the Krishna consciousness will go to every town and village or every corner. So how would Varnashrama Dharma, like I guess like cow protection, so like would it be over time get degraded or will it become more popular?
The prediction of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or the prediction in the Shastra, which Mahaprabhu reminded us of, is that although we are living in the age of Kali, which started 5,000 years ago, there is a window of opportunity. There's a particular period which started 500 years ago with the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And 10,000 years is not so short, but we're just in the beginning. So we what we should expect to see, and what I would say what we are beginning to see also, is a revitalization or reestablishment of what is meant to be the more simple and natural lifestyle, which will be directly connected with giving proper care to cows, not only giving care to cows, but actually living with cows, reviving village lifestyle. So we speak of the golden era, isn't it? This 10,000 year period is described as Satya Yuga. Within Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga will become manifest for this period of time. Now it will take, we don't know exactly how much time it will take, but it will definitely take some period of time for us to actually see this manifest. And we should know that because it is a prediction in the Shastra, that it is meant to happen. And we should, to the best of our ability, wherever we may be, assist in paving the way, so to speak, so that this can happen. We have a number of initiatives, for example, in different countries where there are devotees since many, many years. They have either become part of a village or have created their own village. I'm just coming from one of them in Western Canada, for example. Since the last 40 years, devotees have been developing that particular community, and there are other similar communities. We'll see more and more of this, actually. And we need to understand as devotees that actually, even though it's very far from being the norm in society today, but this is meant to be the norm, just like it was before the advent of, our modern era of industrialization. 85, if not 90% of the population were actually in villages. Now from that percentage, it has come down to maybe around 60%. It is reducing practically every day. So we can, and we should, of course, practice to the best of our ability Krishna consciousness wherever we are, but we should know that part of the revival, part of this new era or golden age will be to reestablish as it is described in the Shastra. So to whatever extent we can be helpful to make this happen, to that extent we should endeavor. And this can only be understood if we are practicing nicely the basic tenets of Krishna consciousness, if we are connected also, if we learn to interact with people who have been doing this for, let's say, a number of years like that. So whether that addresses your question somewhat?
Somewhat.
Okay, somewhat. Someone else? Okay, we'll save the questions after a little bit, okay? You can explain what's, light. So, which one is this?
Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah.
Hare Krishna. So this village, it's near Jakarta. It's called Gita Nagari Baru, where Maharaj spent around more than 12 years in Indonesia. So I got fortunate to travel with Maharaj one time for the Vyasa Puja of Maharaj in the Indonesia. So we went around maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock to this place. and I thought it's maybe some small gathering, but when we stopped, we went in a bus and then in a car. As soon as we parked there, I saw 500 devotees waiting for Maharaj. So entire village came out and invited. So these are all students. Maharaj used to preach in Indonesia, in the university. So they, after their graduation, they came to Maharaj. Now we won't get a job. So Maharaj said, "You go and find a land." And then they are like, no, they got married. And then they, and one time we asked Maharaj, where Maharaj said, it's like we are growing devotees there. Like, the Indonesian government gave a separate, like a, I don't know, Maharaj, what it is called. It's a status recognition for the, like the mayor or city or village head, the president. He is also a devotee. So entire village, they have their own school, they have their own, I mean, I would highly recommend devotees can go one time. They have everyday kirtans. They are natural singers like Gandharvas. So now, without taking a moment, I'll play this video, Maharaj.
Yeah. It was just about to come. I thought we were in Silicon Valley.
Sorry.
Maybe you should try to download it.
Yeah.
Download, you need to
Okay, that's okay. So in the meanwhile, I can play some Surabhi campaign. Yeah. No, this I downloaded this on the local.
Yeah, then something wrong with this. How would that be done? No, it shouldn't. Yeah.
Maharaj, you can chant.
We can let the experts try to work it out and come back to questions.
I'll just try this one time. Then just wait. Okay, now it's on. It's good. Now it's good.
No, just play this. Why sound is not coming?
What? Sam should come with this. Do this after sound. No, audio. Just click on the laptop itself. Yeah, I see. Now it's not presented.
ISKCON Daiva Varnasram Ministry, IDVM India, along with the ISKCON Cow Protection Ministry of India, is launching a 12-year campaign invoking global auspiciousness centered on our universal mother, Mother Surabhi. This 12-year marathon to adopt our Surabhi cow as our universal mother aims at giving total protection to all forms of life, beginning with our mother cow, who is the emblem of peace, prosperity, and all auspiciousness. IDVM India Sustainable Eco Alliance program will allow individuals, families, communities, villages, and organizations to become connected with the campaign for which they will receive many benefits. The campaign will provide practical education in homes, villages, temples, and at other functions about the importance of performing daily Go Puja, worship of Mother Cow, reciting the prayer to Mother Surabhi, and taking the sacred oath invoking protection and blessings from Mother Surabhi. The campaign will promote a major fundraising drive targeting $50 million within the 12-year period that will help in achieving various activities planned under the campaign. Offer scholarships to deserving foreign students desiring to study traditional lifestyle in India, as well as other programs like student exchange. Offer substantial grants to existing ISKCON rural projects around the world. Offer grants for publishing books and literatures related to the glories of Mother Surabhi. Offer grants to help householders relocate from urban settings to traditional lifestyle. Offer grants to invest in as well as to build goshalas for protecting cows. Offer grants to help develop the IDVM India Adopt a Village program. Offer grants to purchase cows for deserving members of a recognized rural project. Help offset cost promoting a global campaign publicity via the website development of www.srisurabhi.org. Set up an office to coordinate worldwide campaign. Travel expenses for promoting the campaign throughout India and abroad. Help sponsor yearly farm conferences promoting the protection of Mother Surabhi. Help develop units and facilities for Panchagavya, medicinal products that will help treat various diseases. Offer grants to set up Gobar gas units to be used for cooking in-home. Offer grants to help set up Shiksales, Gurukuls, and Varnasram colleges to educate and train individuals in Mother Surabhi-related arts and sciences. And provide financial as well as spiritual support for many more activities. We invite you to become a part of this noble effort to help bring auspiciousness by again bringing Mother Cow to the center of our lives. For more details on the campaign, please contact our Continental Campaign Managers.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. We can, should we put the lights on, or?
Yes.
We can put the lights on for now. Lights? So there was one question here. We have a mic? Here. Yes, okay. Yes.
Maharaj, there are actually two questions, if you don't mind.
I mind this one. If no one else has questions, we'll come back. Yeah.
So,
Choose your question properly.
Okay, that's what I'm
Best
trying to do. So for next 10,000 years,
Yes, next 9,500 years.
so we are confident that
Huh?
it will be a golden age.
Yeah,
It will be a golden age,
it will be. Yes.
and then we are confident that there will be cow protection as well
Absolutely. Golden age
for
means
next
come.
9,500 years.
Yeah.
That means there will be agriculture for next 9,500 years.
Natural agriculture.
Agriculture,
Yeah. Actually,
and then
yes.
probably maybe 10% of the global population may depend on agriculture. So then that means,
Why you say 10%?
I mean, as Kali progresses,
100% of the population has to depend on because everyone eats every day. Not only 10% of the population. Go ahead.
as Kali Yuga progresses,
Yes.
my estimation is it may be.
As Kali Yuga, see, the thing is, Kali Yuga will not progress. Kali Yuga presently is still very strong, but as the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu progresses, that during this 10,000 year period, Kali Yuga will be disarmed. How can a golden era be established if Kali Yuga is still full force, isn't it? So Kali Yuga, right now we don't see this, because we see rather the opposite. We see Kali Yuga just going full speed, isn't it? But we should know that simultaneously Krishna consciousness is making many, many inroads. There's all kinds of things happening, most of which we are not aware of. There are transformations. People every single day, because we have devotees going out and preaching, distributing books, because people are hearing the holy name, etc. There's a whole transformation, there's a whole revival that is in the process of happening now. We are getting glimpses of this every day, and that will increase. And it will increase to such an extent that actually the agents of Kali, or the influence of Kali, will at some point no longer be there. So that this era, golden era, the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, will be established. How, when, none of us know, but we should it should be sufficient for us to understand that it is there in the Shastra and has been further repeated and explained by our acharyas. So we should have full faith, of course, in the Shastra and in the words of our acharyas, and we should endeavor, even though we may not see or understand how all of this is going to happen, isn't it? So as Krishna consciousness, as the number of books become distributed, as the number of people become connected and take up to the chanting of the holy name, this transformation will continually increase more and more. And therefore Kali Yuga, for the influence of Kali Yuga within that 10,000 period will be diminished, so that Krishna consciousness will prevail, and then by the end of that 10,000 period, that will again come back. It's like this. Prabhupada gives the example in the rainy season, especially in South India. I had personal experience. I mean, it can rain for weeks and weeks. You don't see the skies. All you see is cloud and rain. But sometimes in the rainy season, the clouds part and the sun comes shining through. But because it's the rainy season, the sunshine will only come for a certain limited period of time. Similarly, we are in Kali Yuga. Within this Kali Yuga, this particular Kali Yuga, the sky will open, and the sunshine of Krishna consciousness will be present, will manifest, but only for that 10,000 year period, which, within 432,000 years is a very short time. this is, it means that all of us who are sitting here, anyone in the world for that matter, is extremely fortunate to have been born at this time. Isn't it? Because it's, Krishna comes only once in a day of Brahma, and immediately after Krishna comes, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. Once in a lifetime of Brahma is like, and only for a short period of time. So it's extremely rare. The period, historical period we are living today is extremely rare. We need to understand this, and we need therefore to take full advantage of what is taking place, or what is meant to take place, and it is to our advantage to be part of it as much as possible, to the extent that we are part of this ongoing revival and transformation that is taking place right now as we sit here, as we speak, as we hear. And to that extent we will benefit, and we will help our acharyas, we will help Srila Prabhupada, we will help Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Krishna, because he's all pervasive, he's everywhere, he notices, he will take note of our whatever effort we make, and accordingly he will reciprocate with us. So that's how it's going to happen. The details will gradually become manifest. Right?
Yes.
Okay. It's on. Is it going to work this time? Whoops. Looks like somebody wants to go to the movies. Indonesia. Is it? Okay. This is the banner we had in the beginning about the campaign. Yeah, okay. No. Oh, okay. People can see it now. These are simply different scenes in Bali, I believe this is. Yeah, this is in Bali. It covers not only the small village. Bali, you see these type of huge, all over the city of Bali. The whole Vedic culture, you can see it. You can't miss it. We have 5 major temples of Radha and Krishna deities actually in Bali. Thousands of devotees. Actually, this is Krishna Balaram. One of our families in Bali, Lalit Prabhu. This is our temple in Ganyar, Rajeshwara temple. Devotees have Goshala in this particular temple. They perform Gopuja and different ceremonies. Initiation ceremony was there. The devotees are very, very enthusiastic, especially in Bali, because the whole Vedic culture is still very prominent. In Indonesia, people are very artistic, very talented, very good singers, very good artists, very good sculptors. I believe this is in our village. Yes. And Gita Nagari Baru means new Gita Nagari. It was very hot that day. So whenever there's a festival, they take the deities around, and in front of every home, This was, they perform Rath Yatra. This is their, this is, no, this is still in Bali, actually. And they perform these traditional Balinese dances. It's part of the training they receive. This is in Ganyar. No. This is in Yogyakarta, actually. This is close to Yogyakarta, some land which is there. We had a transcendental picnic on that day. Throughout the whole of not only Bali, Indonesia, devotees are very enthusiastic. This is Kishara on the right of the screen. One of the main preachers in Indonesia. He's been to Mayapur and other countries. This is in Gita Nagari Baru. Baru means new Gita Nagari. There's over 150 devotees living there. This is their temple. They have deities of Sri Radha, Madana Gopal, and Gaurnitai. So most devotees have some small garden. Many varieties of fruit trees are there. That was Jagai Madai. Practically every province in Indonesia, they have their similar style for traditional dances, which are very This is actually a cultural hall at the village, especially for various types of performances. This is just before leaving, and that is the entrance gate. This is actually in Puncak, close to Jakarta, Sri Radha Govinda, actually, and Gaurnitai. Since the last so many years, over 40 years. This Nrsimhadev was carved actually by a local Muslim person, yeah. They have a nice guest house there, full of banana trees, coconut trees, very tropical area. This is my god brother and god sister, actually, Gaurmandal Bhumi Prabhu, and that was the last home program. Okay. We can put the lights on. put the lights on. Okay, yeah, okay. One. Hare Krishna. Lights off. Yes. And this will take us closer to home. Closer to home means here in the Bay Area. Probably something I've not seen. Just a matter of finding it. We have so many videos.
Hare Krishna. So this is our new Goshala land. So just for 3 minutes, 2 minutes. So one of the cow, I asked Maharaj to name it. So you see the cow in the left side. I asked on Ganga Puja day. So Maharaj named mother as Ganga and the daughter as Puja. And on the Maharaj Vyasa Puja day, the Puja delivered. So we named as Raghav Pandit. Haribo. So her name is Mohana. She recently delivered a calf. Her name is Shraddha. And this is Surabhi. And he is Ganesh. And kids are helping to make the grain feed. That's Chaitanya. So we put turmeric, ashwagandha, jaggery powder. So this is the morning and evening 2 times we serve the cows. And it's a complete... and today we have our Gwala also, Kaunteya Sakadas here. Haribol. So one last video, then we are done. So it's getting late. Yeah. So this used to be a old Goshala, and just it's a 4 minutes video. So this was the cow culture. Maharaj came 2018. The Goshala we opened on 2020 April. So they still there in the. So at that time the calves are very small, you see. So they are 3 months old. We put a well also there. So Nadine Prabhu was there before. There's a trailer. It was a barren land before. After cows came in, there are so many vegetables are growing right now. In the because cows grazing happens. It used to be like this before. This is donated by Charu Prabhu from Utah. This. I went to Texas. This is a bull, the Giriraj brother. His name is Gondal. So I took Narayan Prabhu from Hawaii. This is the first day when cows came in to our Goshala. And Sri Iyer there. Nikhil Prabhu, he was there with Ganesh. So this is a farmer, he donated first grass to our cows. He's American. So we did Maharaj Vyasa Puja at the Goshala. The cows are jumping. We did Balaji Kalyanam at the Goshala. So these are the cow dung cakes. We still make it, and some scouts volunteer came. This is our first milk, and this is our bahula. So Arun Tadise Prabhu here. Rohini also there. Hare Krishna. Thanks for watching. So, can turn the lights. Hare Krishna. So, I just want to share one realization. Maharaj came on Ekadashi day, Ekadashi before day, and there was some, we do cow cuddling therapy at Goshala. So, a lot of people comes. One lady came from San Diego. She said that she works for a Ryobi, a company where they make instruments. She's a sales executive, and she had lot of anxiety problems. And in the cow cuddling therapy, we put one of the remedy is you do cow cuddling, your anxiety goes away. She looked it up from San Diego. She came for that, and she was cuddling the cow with me for. She stayed here for 2 days, and last day she said, Shri said, Krishna, after seeing your cows, my anxieties went away. Not only that, by looking at their eyes, so innocent, so spiritual. I want to stop eating beef today. So that's just one example, I would say. And when Maharaj came, I was Yogini Mata. Maharaj was chanting in the pen there. She just came and sat with Maharaj, and very, very simply, and they can recognize sadhus, especially cows. They have the higher sense, and they, right, this, if cows get, if you get sick at home, we just take the Gomata milk. They come and smell your body, and then by smelling they sense you have some problem, and they give that particular milk, and then you can drink that and you'll become cured. That in olden days, every sadhu, they get sick, they don't eat anything, they just drink the milk. So I can see that it's happening. And when Maharaj was mentioning about cows, I didn't have that much, earlier, I would be honest, no that much faith. But once I seeing that in the Goshala, Krishna is connecting day by day, so many people are coming, Hindus. Nagaraju Prabhu, we did more than 51 Groh Praveshams, the house warming ceremonies. We go houses, we take our cow, we took to the Livermore temple, all temples practically. So this is, as Maharaj mentioned, that Gomata gives the all opulence and all mercy. And I'm offering to everybody, please come on Ekadashi. Balimardhan Prabhu comes for all festivals. He gives lectures in Goshala. Thank you, Balimardhan Prabhu. So, yeah, it is, please come on, especially on Ekadashi. You can come and sit with the Gomatas and chant, and you get all blessings. And children also, they can, this is the opportunity, as Maharaj said, this cow protection is not one person job. It's actually, it's entire community, entire village, and everybody get benefited by this. And also I'm happy to see Hari Guru Prabhu is one more farmer here. Hari Bol. So, yes, and we have a devotee visiting from Dallas, Bhakta Avatar Prabhu, my god brother, and also welcome him. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, you want to chant 5 minutes Kirtan, or we can?
Yeah, it's nice to finish this 5-minute Kirtan. And if there are any lingering questions still, after the Kirtan, individually we can look at that. Yeah. Mridanga, Kartal? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Bolo, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Bol, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala 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 Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Bol Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Bol Hare 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 Rama 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 Jaya Gaura Nithaya Gaura Nithaya Gaura Nithaya Gaura Nithaya Gaura Nithaya Gaura Nithaya Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannath Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Radha Shamasundara Radha Shamasundara Jaya Radha Shamasundara Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gaura Premanande Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai Samasta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Gaura Premanande Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So there are some books. So other books also.